Hey friends, welcome back. Today another channel classic makes a return. It's window light, stationary camera with a mic boomed on top, and we're just gonna chat. I planned on this being a walkie-talkie, but the beautiful Dutch spring has blessed us with a bunch of rain, so no walking today, but the talking part I can do. So I wanted to talk a bit about documenting your own steps. And I feel like this has multiple layers, so I kind of want to go into it and unpack, starting from a more practical level and then getting more philosophical as the video goes on, as per usual. So what brought this on? That's probably the first question that might pop into your mind. And that was I went to a winter school in January for my PhD. It was an amazing winter school. Shout out the crew on Network Dynamics in Groningen. They are great. And that was paid by the university. It was my first business travel, technically. And it was a great experience, but also it came with figuring out the bureaucracy or like the procedures around how this whole traveling thing works. What do you have to submit? How much money can you spend? Do you check the hotel? Do they check the hotel? What's the situation? All of that I had to figure out. And that is a surprisingly non-trivial task. There is a lot of hoops to go through to spend someone else's money, which is probably justified, so that's good. But then I had to figure out all the systems within our department and then at the school level, and how does your supervisor come into it, the finance system, all of it. And as I was going through it, it's a bit of a pain. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna make a note to myself that next time I can just go through the checklist. And then I just retraced my steps. So this was after I already filed the report. Not the report, after I filed the request for the travel. And then I just like retraced my steps. Okay, this is how you check how much money you're allowed to spend by the government, how much money hotels are, then you fill this out and send it to this person, and then you fill this out and send it to that person, and then at the end you will have a filled out travel request. And I just like made a checklist of that, and then I forgot about it. Up until yesterday, I got a text from two fellow PhDs who started a few months later than I did, who have to go to a winter school. And then since I did it already, they asked me like, oh yeah, maybe can you help us out? Like how this whole thing goes? And then I was like, yeah, of course. Here is this document. And it's a page-long PDF with links, with steps. Oh, this is what you do. This is how you should do it. It's kind of like a tips and tricks document. And it was so nice to just have that and be able to just be like, oh yeah, here, this is how you go about it. And I feel like from a practical perspective, this is just awfully convenient. So just tracing your steps and making a note of the steps that you took is very useful for your future self. Of course, if you have to travel again, which I hopefully will need to, considering this is a PhD and there are many conferences to attend. So for future, you will thank you for retracing any steps. I also did the same with creating a virtual machine for a research project when I was a research assistant. And then I just had an outline step. Okay, this is the site that you open, this is the grant that you fill out, this is the specifications. And then when our virtual machine died in an accident, we could just retrace that. Oh yeah, this is the steps. And then in 30 minutes we had it back running. So it's just for yourself, future-proofing it. It's great, but also I think there is a case to be made for like doing it for others, and kind of paying it forward in a sense. Like I wasn't sure whether my work or like my notes on how to travel will be useful for someone else, but it was, and now it's really nice that I made it, and I think. And this is where it will get a bit more abstract, so bear with me. I think there is kind of a theme in this, which goes unnoticed pretty often, but I think a lot of the things in society are people tracing their steps and documenting their steps and then sharing it. So the first thing that came to mind is this very YouTube channel, because the whole idea behind this when I started out was that I just want to document my PhD journey, so others can see what it's like in the day-to-day. Because when I signed up, I didn't really have an idea what a PhD would be. And when you're looking around online, you can see all of these either very technical stuff or these super lifestyle vlogs around the PhD. And I wanted to do neither of those. I just wanted to kind of like keep it real and share the journey, document the steps I take towards obtaining my PhD. And that is a huge motivation for me. First of all, for my future self, because I feel like looking back at year 4 on the videos I make now and how I approach certain topics is just going to be so funny. But also for other people. So I made a video a while back about like the struggles of the first 4 months of a PhD. And then I have a colleague who started about half a year later than I did, and then he told me that, oh yeah, he watched that video and it made him feel better, because he just saw that, oh yeah, you know, like it's kind of okay. Like he sees me that now I'm fine, and then he's like, oh yeah, I'm probably also gonna be fine. And this is so nice, and this is a big part, I think, and this is every story we tell. You know, the old stories that humans tell. It's basically just people being like, this is what I did and this was the end result, and then just sharing that. And whether you call it a takeaway, whether you call it documentation, at the end of the day, it's largely the same thing. It's just like tracing down the things that you've done and then sharing it with others. And everyone can draw their own conclusions, of course. Yeah, sure. But I think there is something here. And now that I think of it, academia is largely the same. Like creating knowledge in academia is also largely about just like tracing your steps and then sharing it. When you do empirical research, you're like, here is this phenomenon which we don't know enough about. Here are the steps I took in collecting the data, selecting the data, designing the experiment, whatever, and the measurements and whatnot to measure it better. And then based on these steps, here is what I did. And then you just share it and publish it. Hopefully. But that's the same thing, you know, because we are kind of saving each other work here. So when I look at a YouTube video, a tutorial, every tutorial is the same. It's the same concept. Not every tutorial is the same as every other tutorial. Every tutorial is the same concept. As in, it's just, we just save each other time. And now this is what my colleagues told me. Oh yeah, you probably saved us like 5 hours of hunting around on the internet. And I'm like, great. That's great, because it took me basically 0 time to just write down in a document, like collect all the links, like, oh yeah, send it here, click this link, check it out, whatever. It took me very little extra time, but the potential upsides are incredibly high. As in academia, your own research might contribute to a giant breakthrough that makes a huge impact in the world, or even a YouTube video might connect you to interesting people, or it might just make someone's day a bit better. And I think taking this, I don't know, 8.5 minutes to just sit down and kind of just like chat it out is such a small investment for potentially a huge upside. And I think that's the beauty of it. And now that, so as per usual, I am in a creative crisis when it comes to these YouTube videos. I always want to make this grand overarching plan, or figure out every format, do my stuff in series. Oh yeah, this is how I'm gonna do it. And then I make a plan and I start doing the plan, and then I don't like the plan. Like I actually don't like doing it. And then I just fall into this creative crisis, like, oh my god, what am I gonna do now? Oh, this was the perfect plan and now I can't. And like, what is gonna happen with this YouTube channel? And at the end of the day, it's gonna be this, you know, I'm just gonna trace my steps and document my steps and share it with the world. And if you happen to get some encouragement for it, some entertainment perhaps, or learn something, or maybe just, you know, a smile perhaps, that is enough for me, because that's what we are here for. Just like sharing or tracing our steps, sharing our story, and kind of just like documenting our journey. So I feel like it's kind of poetic that this thought is getting captured in the same format as this whole channel started out. No fancy editing, no anything. It's just bare bones, shotgun mic, camera, your boy, and just chatting away. I feel like we came full circle with this YouTube channel, which feels great. Alright, I feel like that is the perfect place to wrap it. Thanks for joining, and let me know your thoughts about documenting your step. Make sure to take some notes. Bye bye.